And honestly, when we're in a context where we're dealing with situations, aging,
yes,
the losses of aging, that is inherently scary. So a lot of it comes from just putting the right question forward. How do I shift this from people being not safe to safe?
I keep thinking of my experience as a counselor at camp when I was very much older, and I finally boiled it down with these kids who were at the Y camp. Look, there are 4 things that'll help you.
Yeah.
Say please, thank you, excuse me, and I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, isn't it that simple? We learned that in kindergarten.
It is. Now, I actually have one of the things I do teach is a 6-step process. I won't go over the whole 6 steps right now, but there is a 6-step process that each of us can use individually to shift us from a state where we can't really connect well to where we can be centered and grounded, not just caringly, but so our head is working well.
Right. Well, we'll look forward to that explanation. Remember that, a 6-step process. It's been wonderful visiting with you. Thank you, and welcome to the Aging Family.
Thank you.
And we look forward to seeing you again next time on Aging Well in L.A.
During a disaster, you and your neighbors become actual first responders to assist each other in your area. Law enforcement, paramedics, and firefighters may be unable to reach you for up to 72 hours. Ensure that you and your neighbors are prepared to assist each other. Ask your landlord or provider what provisions have been made to assist you in an emergency. I'll show you where I keep my Go Kit, including instructions on how to use my wheelchair and other equipment. Due to shock and confusion following a disaster, it may be difficult to remember what needs to be done. It's a good idea to practice what needs to be done and where you will go. You should practice how to turn off utilities, how you and your family will evacuate, and where you will meet. I have planned and practiced 2 exits from each room in case one is blocked. It's plotted on this map. I have also included for you a list of my emergency contacts, local and out of state, and I've placed a copy of all of this in my Go Kit. If I'm unconscious or unable to communicate, all of my important health-related info is here and in my Go Kit. My Go Kit is right here under my bed. It includes a first aid kit, my medications, copies of my prescriptions, my personal hygiene items, sanitary items, and emergency contacts. And thanks to modern technology, on this USB drive, I have stored copies of all my important documents, including emergency contacts, ID cards, family records, wills, deeds, insurance policies, financial information, and even irreplaceable family photos. I also have some cash in small denominations. As the phone lines and electricity might be down, it's important to keep a radio or a battery-operated TV to keep updated on information regarding the disaster. It's also important to have spare batteries and an extra set of keys.
You've done a great job with all of this. I should do it myself too.
Only you know what can prepare and assist you and your family for a disaster. Are you prepared? For more information, please contact the Department on Disability or the Emergency Management Department by calling the numbers on the screen or by dialing 311.
What if a disaster strikes without warning? if life as you know it has completely turned on its head? What if everything familiar becomes anything but? Before a disaster turns your family's world upside down, it's up to you to be ready. Get a kit, make a plan, be informed today.
Hi, I'm Kevin from Chatsworth, offering you a taste of New Orleans since 1986. You're watching LA City View, Channel 35. Our city, our channel.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Los Angeles City Council meeting for today, Wednesday, November 23rd, 2011. If I can ask folks in chambers to come to order. We are we're one member short right now. Council members Cardenas and Koretz and Rosendahl we are expecting. Ms. Perry is excused today, and Mr. Parks called in sick this morning. So we are just awaiting Council members Cardenas and Rosendahl and Koretz. As soon as we have one more member, we will have 10 members who will constitute a quorum, and we'll begin our business. I want to thank everybody who's taken time out of their schedules to be here live in Council chambers. Thank you to everybody. We welcome you. Good to see folks with some special welcomes. See Council member Nate Holden here. We want to thank you. And Assemblymember Mike Davis is also here. Excuse me. I always, if I start naming some, I know I'm going to miss somebody, but I'll make sure anybody else I see gets noticed as well. I want to thank members of the community who are here. Merv Dimely is here, excuse me, as well. Great Merv Dimely right here. Our great Lieutenant Governor, among other things. Oh, my gosh. And we have in chambers Councilmember Cunningham as well. It's always great to see you back here in Council chambers. Welcome back to a place you spent some great years as well. We are awaiting a quorum. As I mentioned, we need one more council member to begin. But in the meantime, I want to thank those members who are here on time. Thank you, Council members Alarcon, Englander, Weezar, Krikorian, Labange, Reyes, Rosendahl, Wesson, and Zine. With that, we do have 10 members, and we're also being broadcast live on Channel 35 through the internet at lacity.org, and we are available in San Pedro and Van Nuys City Halls, which is a way you can testify or follow council remotely if you live closer to those places as well. So with that, 10 members, Mr. Clerk, if you'll please call the roll.
Alarcon, Cardenas, Englander, Weezar, Koretz, Krikorian, Labange, Parks, Perry, Reyes, Rosendahl, Wesson, Zine, Garcetti. 11 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
All right. We have 11 members here. We do have ordinances that we'll have to wait. Mr. Koretz, if you'll please join us as soon as possible. We will have 12 members and be able to pass those ordinances, but let's go ahead and take up the first order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
All right. Mr. Zine moves and Mr. Reyes seconds. Without objection, those will be approved. Next order of business.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Mr. Krikorian moves and Mr. Englander seconds. Without objection, those will be approved as well. Let's go ahead and run through today's agenda. Any items you wish to call special, colleagues? Now would be the time as we go through. First item, please.
Mr. President, item 1 is an item is an item for which public hearing has been held.
Okay. We could go into closed session on this, colleagues, but if nobody wishes to, we can take this up. We've already had a public hearing. Anybody wishing to call one special? If not, let's go ahead and open the roll on item 1. Close the roll and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
That is approved. Next item, please.
Items 2 through 16 are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration.
All right. If there's no objection to consideration, seeing none of those items are before us, do we have any cards from the public on any of these items?
Mr. President, we do. We have cards on items 2, 4, 8, 9, 12, 13, and 14.
All righty. We'll call those special for cards from the public and close the other public hearings. Mr. Koretz is here, so we can take up the balance of the items unless there's any specials. Mr. Rosendahl?
Number 1, please reconsider. I want to discuss that.
Okay, we'll come back to number 1 after we take up these other items. Any other specials from this section, colleagues? If not, let's go ahead and open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
The balance of those items are approved. Next items, please.
Got it. Mr. President, items 17 and 18 are items scheduled for closed session. Would you like to hold them on the desk?
I think that we have one that is just a rejection, unless anybody wishes to call that special. We can take that. Mr. Cardenas, did you have guidance on that?
Both of them for closed session.
Okay.
Was communicated by Councilmember Parks. There might be some questions
we'll
you'd like
both,
me to ask. Thank you.
Both of those into closed session. Items 17 and 18. All right, that will take us to our general public comment. This is for items that are not on today's agenda, but nevertheless under the jurisdiction of the City Council. I want to invite forward first Mark Lippman. After that will be Sean Murphy.
Good morning, Councilman.
Good morning.
My name is Mark Lippman with Occupy Los Angeles. As always, I speak for myself. There has been much discussion over the past several weeks of what Occupy LA wants, what our demands are. As I do not speak for the group, but for myself, I would like to put forward a suggestion. back in February, when I ran for state senate, during the budget crisis debates, I put forward a proposal that would save the state an estimated $25 billion and also solve the problem of homelessness at the same time. This proposal was based on reports by the United Way, on reports by the National Alliance to End Homelessness, and also based on a report by the County of Los Angeles for their Project 50. I'm sure you're all aware of that. I would like to present this proposal to you today as a solution, as a step forward to answering some of the concerns that Occupy Los Angeles has. Of course, nothing is perfect. I'm not a professional politician or lawyer or anything like that, so things would have to be worked out. But I hope some of the people who are inside conversations, and the councilman especially, are listening to this, because this is a serious proposal that I would like to put forward on my behalf as a member of Occupy Los Angeles as a way forward to maybe thinking about a way to solve some of the problems we're having. So I have one copy here with you today.
We'll make sure the Sergeant at Arms gets it.
I'll bring this in to you,
Okay,
and I'll also be presenting this to the mayor's meeting with us this afternoon. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. If we could ask one of the Sergeants at Arms to collect that. If we could have the Sergeant at Arms just from the speaker, if you can collect that, please. Thank you. Sean Murphy will be our next speaker. After Mr. Murphy will be Laser Haas. Good morning.
Good morning, City Council. I want to give out a shout out to all my fans to wish them a happy Thanksgiving, and thank you for watching me. Happy Thanksgiving, and the choir's going to sing tomorrow. Hope everybody has a good Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Laser Haas is our next speaker. After that will be William Rusposin.
Good morning. Hello, my name is Laser Haas. Today I bring to you part 3 of the Goldman Sachs conspiracy with Mitt Romney's Bain entity to defraud Los Angeles of the eToys public company. This is the truth I aver to you. Please pay attention. It is one of the biggest, quite possibly the largest organized crime and corruption scandal you may ever see. As was stated yesterday, Goldman Sachs CEO Blankfein has already hired a criminal defense attorney, and we have a case here where the FBI could raid Goldman Sachs' office today. The U.S. Attorney Colm Connolly refused to investigate and prosecute Goldman Sachs, even though they confessed to lying to the court. But the U.S. Attorney failed to tell us he was a partner at the Goldman Sachs law firm. Goldman Sachs law firm also works for Mitt Romney's Bain entity and conspired with Romney's other secret attorney, Paul Traub. All of these crimes you can see in the public docket record. Paul Traub was partners with Mark Dreyer, who is doing 20 years. Paul Traub was partners with Tom Petters, who is doing 50 years. Paul Traub also worked the Okun case. His appeal was denied. He's doing 100 years. Yet the Department of Justice will not touch Mitt Romney's associate, Paul Traub, who appears to be immune from prosecution, right? They offered me a bribe, and when I said no, my attorney emailed me threats to back off. They destroyed my career. I lost my house and my savings, while they are bragging that Goldman Sachs and Bain are untouchable by you. They want me dead, and each week I come here as an occupier with a case that proves the Occupy movement is valid. They threaten my life. Will you watch me demise, or will you occupy Goldman Sachs and Mitt Romney's Bain with me and demand the FBI arrest them right now? They can't handle the truth. If one honorable person investigates this case, so many dominoes will fall, it will boggle your mind. Don't stand by idle. Tell everybody about it. Mitt Romney's career will end tomorrow if you investigate this case today. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. But William Rusposin is next. And then after that will be James Shaw.
I'm William Rusposin.
Rusposin, excuse me.
And, thank you. And I came here in support of a choice to medicate the way I feel best, and I found that marijuana really helps me a lot. I have a life-threatening illness, is what they call it today, and it's been about 11 years now, and I've been taking medication for that. And since then, my body has gotten worse and worse, because of the medication. I'm a mess. But really, I get relief from that, from the medicine that I get from collectives. And there's a few collectives that are so kind to me. They offer me, medicine and support, spiritual support, and it doesn't come from a pharmacy. It doesn't come from the guy in the corner. I live on Southwestern, and man, I can get what I want, any corner, any time of the day. And I choose to go to collectives that support me, and I want to support them. That's my plea to you, is to, give them a break, because I don't think they should be persecuted for trying to help somebody. It's common sense. And I see so many double standards over here. When I watch it on TV, and it's entertaining sometimes, but I've been saddened lately. The way you treat human beings. It could be your brother, it could be my brother, and I have several friends that have passed on. And they could have used a little bit of support, and I gave what I could, and that's why I'm here today to say, please, that's my plea, to give patients and collectives, people who want to help other people, give them a chance. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. James Shaw is our next speaker. After that is Scott Smith. Good morning.
Good morning, Chairman Garcetti, council members. My name is James Shaw from the Union of Medical Marijuana Patients. I'm here today to speak to the issue of Councilman Huizar's motion to ban patient associations in the city of Los Angeles. Quite frankly, it would be much cheaper to deal with the courts over a ban than paying a crippling 5% tax. But I'm here today to tell you that you do not need to ban patient associations. I have submitted to the clerk today, which should be in front of you, an outline for an alternative. Back in 2007, I started developing a third-party independent verification process called AgSite Secure, specifically to deal with the issues raised by the Second Court PAC decision. Third-party verifiers are not subject to federal preemption. When law enforcement and city officials can see how this verification works, they can easily identify what is legal and not legal. Mechanisms can be created to limit the number of storefront locations. Government can know that organizations are operating not-for-profit and there is no diversion of medicine, including that all the members of patient associations are qualified patients. The city can have everything they want through third-party verification. Please do not ban patient associations, but consider the alternatives. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Shaw. Scott Smith is our next speaker. After that is John Walsh.
Good morning, council members. I'm with the Union of Medical Marijuana Patients. Although I don't actually personally use marijuana for medical or other reasons, and I came to this discussion late, but I'm a journalist, and I began looking at the arguments pro and con, and I was really surprised to notice the very flimsy foundation for the idea of either a ban or the de facto ban that the original ordinance would have imposed. Just to give you one example, if you look in the introduction to the original ordinance, there is a citation of the California Police Chiefs Association report allegedly claiming that the dispensaries cause a crime wave. But I actually went and read the report, and there are a few anecdotes given. There's no statistical evidence to support that. And yet the city ordinance didn't mention the one important law enforcement figure who testified in front of the council, Police Chief Beck, who said that his own study had shown that medical marijuana dispensaries do not cause crime. They're half as likely to be robbed as banks, and nobody's talking about moving banks to the hinterlands or limiting them to 70 or 100 locations. Meanwhile, the city has 3,400 liquor licenses. So rather than promoting that old movie Reefer Madness and scare tactics, I would urge the council to consider the medical benefits of marijuana, which if you can look them up on Wikipedia under medical cannabis, and make medical marijuana accessible to the legitimate patients. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is John Walsh. After that is Cheryl Eichley. Good morning, Mr. Walsh.
Good morning. John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org or Walsh Confidential Google. Next Monday, November 28th, is the deadline from the mayor Occupy LA must be removed, or it will be removed by pepper spray, police dogs, helicopters in a pre-dawn raid. Those are the dates. Now, who ordered this? It's not actually the mayor. This was ordered by the White House, by Rahm Emanuel. Now, why? Because their polling shows that he is going to lose the election the same way Hubert Humphrey lost the election to Nixon unless he wipes it out. Now, who is behind this? An organization called PERF, P-E-R-F. If you want to go to policeforum.org. They admit they are coordinating throughout the state of the United States the removal of all of these occupies. Who's the past president of PERF? Bratton. Who's the current president? The commissioner of Philadelphia. This is what PERF says they are: a national membership of police executives from the largest city, county, and states enforcement agency dedicated to involvement in public policy debate. Go to their website now. The blogs this has been on the blogs for weeks. What are they saying now? They have an admission. The mayor has an order from the White House that they are involved. They are coordinating this organization called the PERF, policeforum.org. And if I'm psychotic, then you'll go and there'll be no such organization. HollywoodHighlands.org. They are going to wipe us out. Watch out. Policeforum.org. And it's not the Tea Party that's going to destroy Occupy. It's the Democrats.
Thank you. Cheryl Likely is our next speaker. After that is Cynthia Lester.
Hello, my name is Cheryl Eichley. I'm a member of Occupy Los Angeles, as you know. I live in District 4, and it's very rare that I follow John Walsh, and we have a very similar topic and a similar subject matter that we almost agree on. I would like the city to come to a resolution that the council supports peaceful protesting and detests any form of police misconduct, abuse, or brutality. This is a subject that I've spoken in front of you several times over the last 2 months. Each time a case of brutality happens, I come before you. I'm sure you guys all know about New York, Oakland, Berkeley, Denver, Seattle, most recently UC Davis. What I don't think you guys may know about are 2 pregnant women who lost their children after the police beat them and sprayed them with pepper spray. There were 2 women. One was 3 months pregnant, one was 8 months pregnant, and they both lost their children after police brutalized them. I am asking you guys to stand up against police brutality. I'm not asking you to go against the police, but I'm asking you to hold accountable those who misuse their power and hurt innocent people and kill unborn children. I have 2 articles right here that talk about the 2 incidents. And you may think John Walsh is crazy, because I do, but some of what he says has some truth to it. Homeland Security and the FBI were part of a conference call with 18 cities, with mayors, and the Homeland Security was telling the cities to go in the dead of night, make sure the media did not see, use as much force as possible to evict these occupations. I know this hasn't been a huge issue here in Los Angeles, but I would like the city to stand with us in a resolution that says any police misconduct is unacceptable. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Eichley. Cynthia Lester is our next speaker. And after that is Paul Mackley. Good morning.
Good morning. Hi, my name is Cynthia Lester. I am a social work student and intern, and I'm also a filmmaker. I was inspired to get involved in Occupy because I saw what kind of community involvement it inspired. I am just moved by the fact that there is a space that promotes community. I think people are so desperate to have community that they're willing to sleep out in the tents for it. I also see that it's promoting people who don't normally have a voice, who don't normally know how to come through these channels to speak up. And I really hope that we continue to support some kind of element like this, so people who are normally marginalized in society have a voice. I've been helping out to coordinate a wellness tent where we are providing resources for people, and we're also trying to promote healthy communication, because as you know, these are people who are brought together by having a good cause, good heart, but like society, they basically are a microcosm of society, and we see all of the elements there that are plaguing our society. And that's why we're there to sort of help build healthy communication, help teach values that people want to change, but they don't know how to. So that's why I'm there. And I hope that business makers can come together to support community activities, community recreation centers, a place for these people to come together. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Paul Mackley is our next speaker. After that is Arnold Sachs.
Good morning. My name is Paul Mackley, and I'm a member of the Arts District Healing Center. I'm a medical marijuana patient, and I would like to address the proposed ban on dispensaries and ask that you please think about the members, the people who use the dispensaries. It seems rather obvious, but I don't hear it discussed much. I hear about hundreds of dispensaries, but for them to exist, there must be tens of thousands of people who have valid doctor recommendations for medical marijuana. Where does this come from? If you close this dispensary tomorrow, do I go like I did back in the 80s when I moved here from Los Angeles to a drive-up market on the street corner and buy it from a 12-year-old where I have to worry about mean people with guns? Please don't put me back there. Please consider the medical marijuana patients when you're discussing the dispensaries. If you don't have a solution to that, then please do not go forward on banning dispensaries. Thank you very much.
Arnold Sachs, our next speaker. After Mr. Sachs will be Don Duncan.
Yes, thank you. Good morning. Arnold Sachs. Good morning, Council. I did want to, unfortunately, I left yesterday to go to the County Board of Supervisors. It's just such a fun organization. But I did want to address something that was on yesterday's agenda, and that was item 14, where the community redevelopment increased the pool of funds available for as-needed general architectural consulting services by $4 million, from $2.5 million to $6.5 million. But you're going to spend $4 million for architectural services, so I was wondering, why didn't you just increase it to $4 million or even $4.5 million? And while I was sitting in the audience this morning, it dawned on me why. Well, because when you maintain this pool balance left over, then you don't have to open up any more requests for proposals, so you maintain the same people in the same organization, and everybody steps forward. Not very open and transparent. After that, I thought I would address again the mayor's road tree trimming plan to use Measure R funds, the 27-year plan, and the fact that the New York Times and several California publications have said, gee, state revenues have declined. So what's the mayor's guarantee that he's going to get the money back, or the Measure R sales tax is maintaining itself? And by the way, you're concerned about, Councilman Parks mentioned something about exploring the universe of funding, but he didn't mention anything about the 20-year waiver for the Ritz-Carlton bed tax at 14%, which is going to cost the city $240 million. And the AEG, they published their second blueprint for the stadium. We're still waiting to see a blueprint for the expanded convention hall that's going to be built. How about they show a picture of that so we get an idea what the $250 million bond is buying?
Don Duncan is our next speaker. After Mr. Duncan is Richard Kearns. Good morning.
Good morning, council members. My name is Don Duncan. I'm the California Director of Americans for Safe Access.
and I'm here today to ask you to reject calls for a ban on medical marijuana collectives and cooperatives in the city of Los Angeles. We've worked for many years, many hours to perfect regulations to try to do something right, and there's a new proposal now that would turn its back on patients and on that progress and on those efforts, and it's the wrong choice. We know through research and experience that sensible regulations reduce crime and reduce complaints. And so choosing instead to ban collectives and cooperatives turns our back on all of that, the potential benefit for our community. So I want to urge you to reject that. You've been told by the City Attorney's Office that the decision in Pack versus Long Beach requires you to ban medical marijuana cooperatives and collectives. That is false. The Pack decision, if it is upheld by the California Supreme Court, may limit your ability to authorize activity that's illegal under federal law, but in no way does it forbid you from adopting regulations that govern that kind of activity. You can still have location restrictions and restrictions on hours of operation and the other things that make up the meat and potatoes of our existing ordinance. And so you do not have to abandon the path that we've already set down on. You can have an ordinance that regulates medical cannabis activity without banning it. And that's what we've been pushing for all these years, all the way back to 2005. So if this city council opts for a ban on medical cannabis in the city, it's not because you're being forced into that position. It's because you choose it. That means you're choosing to turn your back on legal patients. You're choosing to turn your back on the collectives that have worked in good faith to comply with the city and to help you adopt an ordinance. It's unfortunate it's taken this long. It's unfortunate council could not come to an agreement sooner. But don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. Don't punish the good guys because of a few bad guys. Stand by your guns, regulate medical cannabis in the city, and let the patients and the community at large reap the benefits of that regulation. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Richard Kearns. After Richard Kearns will be Sarah Armstrong.
Good morning, President Garcetti, distinguished panel members. My name is Richard Kearns. I'm a 60-year-old gay man. I've had AIDS for the last 30 years. I'm dying. I weigh 127 pounds. I'm standing in front of you in diapers. This business about kicking out the medical marijuana ordinance is shameful. Shame on you. I want to recommend a very good two-part article in the LA Times by Ken Streeter on the hospice for the terminally ill in prison in Los Angeles. During the last 72 hours of a person's life in prison, they're put on vigil. There's always someone with them to die. What have you done with this ordinance? You bailed on that. You bailed on your vigil. Shame on you.
Sarah Armstrong is our next speaker. After that is Barry Kramer.
Good morning. I'm here today in my capacity as the legal liaison to the Greater Los Angeles Collective Alliance, which represents exclusively the pre-ICO collectives in this city. Please oppose any motion to ban. A rush to judgment may well mean years of expensive litigation and voter referendums. We don't understand why two motions to ban collectives are necessary. On October 12th, Councilpersons Parks and Perrys introduced a motion to ban. Is it really necessary to have two motions? We are sorry that Councilman Huizar has chosen to turn his back on the second dying of Los Angeles, people like Richard Kearns. I hope you will not join him, but rather work with the stakeholders to craft sensible regulations. Recent court decisions, such as the Pat case, simply mean you must regulate in a different manner, not that you cannot regulate. GLADCA has contacted lawyers representing stakeholders, and they would be glad to come down and talk to you about how to regulate in a post-PAC environment. We hope you will avail yourselves of their counsel. Other city councils have succeeded in regulating medical cannabis: Sebastopol, Berkeley, San Francisco, Oakland, West Hollywood, Palm Springs. Los Angeles can do the same, and a well-crafted ordinance will not only eliminate the need to ban, it may well end existing litigation, since all those suing did so because they were seeking a sensible regulation. I would very much like to bring a delegation of lawyers to meet with you in open session to discuss how to regulate. We are not trying to cause difficulties for the city attorney's office. Any meeting would include their personnel and would take place only if they approve such a meeting. You've just heard from Richard Kearns, a friend of mine and a longtime activist. It's him and people like him that we get up every morning and open collectives, though we do so at great risk to ourselves. Please don't throw the baby out of the bath with the bathwater. It is more than possible to regulate in a post-PAC environment, and we stand ready to help you with that. Thank you.
Thank you. Barry Kramer is our next speaker. After that is Yamileth Bolanos.
Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, Council. My name is Barry Kramer. I am a citizen of Los Angeles, and I'm here to ask you to please not ban medical marijuana here in Los Angeles. This, you've heard from other speakers, this has been a long fight, you know as well as we do, and we have really tried to come to the table and be partners with the city to figure out how we can get this access to our patients. There are over 200,000 medical marijuana patients in the city area of Los Angeles. Creating a ban right now is like putting up a giant billboard to our cartels to the south and saying, hey, you know what? There's 200,000 people in Los Angeles that no longer can find a safe access to their medicine. So come on over. You think there's crime now, which there isn't, and we've shown you that there isn't. Wait until you do this ban. Please, please start to think thoughtfully about what you're trying to do here. Don't rush to judgment. Please have some conversations with the communities. Please talk about this decision before you decide to ban medical marijuana in Los Angeles. Councilman Huizar today in the newspaper said it was irresponsible for the council to do nothing. No one is asking the council to do nothing. You've already been given a number of alternatives to the ban. Please follow those alternatives. Search them out. If they don't work, they don't work, but please don't just not ignore them. You have a job to do, and you're paid to do a job here by the citizens of this city and by the patients that get this medicine. Please do your job, and please do not ban medical marijuana in Los Angeles. Thank you.
Yamileth Bolanos is our next speaker. After that will be Rick Nightingale in Van Nuys.
Good morning, City Council. My name is Yamilet Bolaños. I am president of the Greater Los Angeles Collectives Alliance, an association that was born because this council could not give us regulations in time. So we made up our own rules so that we would be running correctly and legally in this city. Now you guys are coming up with a ban? A ban? Really? There's probably 200,000 patients in this city, which all rely on you to make the right decisions for them. Irresponsible, Mr. Huizar? Irresponsible to do nothing? For 6 years, this council has done nothing. We came and told you about the proliferation of the collectives in the city. This council did nothing. Irresponsible to do nothing? Yes, it was very irresponsible to do nothing. And today, calling for a ban is the most irresponsible thing you can do, because you're turning over the distribution of medical marijuana to the cartels and the gangs of the city, to the patients.
You can address the council as a
whole. You're screwing the patients of the city of Los Angeles. And they're going to remember that. A lot of them are registered voters, and we're going to keep reminding them about
if you can address the council as a whole, please. Thank you.
I'm sorry. Okay, so we're all going to remember what happened at this council. We all remember that it's been 6 years and you guys haven't been able to come to any good conclusion for the patients of the city of Los Angeles. Well, a ban is the most irresponsible thing you can do. Again, handing over the distribution of medical marijuana to the cartels and the gangs of this city is not the responsible thing to do. Thank you.
Rick Nightingale is our next speaker in Van Nuys. After that, we'll come back, and Jacqueline Richardson will be our last speaker. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. You know, this place, the United States was made by laws. And I don't remember anybody changing the law. We have a federal law that says it's you can't have it. I go along with helping people that need help. But you people that smoke marijuana and want it, abused it. Abused it. And rub it in everybody's face, smoking it and blow it in the smoke in the cameras and so forth. I lost my best cousin because somebody got loaded at 8 o'clock in the morning and T-boned him and killed him because he was on marijuana. So don't give me all this stuff about all how great it is and so forth. Yes, it is helped some people, but you got along without it before. The federal government says it's illegal. You're supposed to obey by the federal government, not the state government. That's the way it goes. That's the same about Berkeley. I said something yesterday. What they should do is take these people, when you're going to protest, you protest between hours, like 10 in the morning till 2 in the afternoon. After that, you dismiss. If you don't, you take them in. On the colleges, if you get caught, you get arrested. First time's a freebie. Second time, you get suspended like you're in junior high school. And you don't come back for about, we'll say maybe 4 weeks. Catch up on the work then and see how it is. And this third time, you're suspended for the year. How's that feel? Treat you like a bunch of little kids. And then when the mayor turns around and you people are going to give these people on the 10th city a place for a year to turn around and get rid of them, you people are insane. I cannot believe you people. It's like a kid going down to the candy store with his mother. The kid steals a candy bar, goes outside, and the mother says, well, where'd you get the candy bar? Well, I took it. Well, let me take you inside and I'll buy you another one. Are you people crazy? I can't believe what you people are doing.
Thank you very much for your public comments. Last, we have Jacqueline Richardson. Is Jacqueline Richardson in the room? If there's Ms. Richardson, come on forward, ma'am. Good morning.
Good morning. The subject is marriages, plural marriages. Some Jewish ladies are marriages that have 1 man and 3 women. The ladies do not like that. They want their own husbands. The men can be governors, police officers, judges, janitors, or any other occupation. The top job in Washington, D.C., the person occupying that position could be doing something that he has no business doing. You don't have to beat these ladies over the head because of these marriages. They do not like it. The worst case scenario is that the husband takes bribes to give to his wives. Another worst case scenario is that the wife is dead, the husband is dead, and their 2 teenage daughters are dead, and nobody knows why. Another worst case scenario is that 2 grown sisters are dead. The husband is dead, and all their little children are dead. And nobody knows why. The person or people who could testify don't, because they might be in the same situation. Some of the ladies who are in these plural marriages suffer. Some of them suffer. They suffer. Some of them suffer.
Thank you, ma'am. We have Frank Sheftel out in the San Fernando Valley in Van Nuys. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you. I wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, and I wish them a happy holiday. I'm down here today to talk about the proposed ban on the medical marijuana collectives. You know, I'm really outraged, and I agree with Richard Kearns that you guys should be ashamed of yourself, especially on the eve of Thanksgiving. I mean, that really says a lot. Where's your compassion? For the last 6 years, I've operated a legal medical marijuana collective, not-for-profit. We've gone by every letter of the law that was written by the state and by the feds. Have nothing to do with it because they obviously have said that they don't agree with it. We know their position on it. To ban the collectives you guys should be ashamed of yourself. We have spent 6 years coming to the table. We have spent a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of effort in getting these regulations on paper and trying to get them for the city to enforce them. The city's enforcement is nil, and that's for everything. On billboards, I passed 25 mobile billboards, parked behind scooters on the street that we've done nothing about. We should be ashamed of ourselves. We really should. But I see every day, I'm on the front line, I see the people that come in, I see the people that need their medicine, the Richard Kerns, the people that are dying, the people that have pain, the people that need it to get by every day. There are people that abuse it, but they abuse everything. There are people that abuse alcohol, that abuse prescription drugs. You're not going to ban pharmacies and ban liquor
You have
stores,
30
are you?
seconds, Mr. Sheftel. Sorry, I didn't start. I just wanted to give you a time count. 30 seconds.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So I urge you guys to go back to the table, to continue with the regulations that you have. Let the city create a revenue stream from these collectives, the legal ones, and start enforcing it. Close down the ones that are illegal. But to ban them is a shame, and you should be ashamed of yourself, Councilman Weezar, for doing this on the eve of Thanksgiving. Absolutely, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Thank you, Mr. Sheftel. And for general public comment, Mr. Holden, did you want to make comments of a general public nature? Councilmember Nate Holden? Always good to see you here.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, members. I came down here today for a very historical vote that's yet to take place. But as I sat here and listened to public comment, I think it's appropriate for me to say at this time that many of you who are here for 8 or 10 years, you now have an institutional memory about how you manage the affairs of government, how you manage it here and also at any other level of government where there's so-called term limits. The people of the city of Los Angeles were influenced by, a friend of ours more than 20 years ago and voted to institute term limits. In doing so, they got rid of some of the finest legislative members of this body. But we've been very fortunate. You have learned also how to manage the affairs of government for the city of Los Angeles. The people of this city have an investment in you. They should not trade in their investment for the unknown. And so we need to appeal to them once again. As I was leaving the council, I said, I served 16 years here, accomplished a lot, and I asked the members of the council at that time to vote for another 4 years, we would give them 12. They chickened out, but you know what? We finally got the other 4 years. And we need 4 more years. If we can't abolish term limits, let's go for 4 more years and make it 16. Serve as many years as Nate Holden did. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Holden. Always good to have you here in Chambers. With that, let us turn our attention to items called special. Before that, Mr. Rosendahl, I think, had a quick introduction/goodbye, and then we'll take up item 13 next. Mr. Rosendahl.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. There's a new day we're living in. It's the media of the social network on Twitter and Facebook, on all these other mechanisms that we're learning about things. And standing next to me is Samantha Page, who has been with a group called Patch. And they have done an incredible job. There happens to be 850 patches, 10,000 bloggers, and millions of people across the country literally are getting their news from Patch. Samantha Page, standing next to me, is going off to Bangkok. She's leaving us, and we just want to thank her on behalf of the City of Los Angeles and my constituents of the 11th District. I want to express my deep gratitude for your public service as a journalist for Patch.com. I appreciate your commitment to the community on key issues and shining the spotlight on all the great things happening in Venice. God bless you and bon voyage.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Colleagues, I'm going to move out of order that we take item 13 next. And pursuant to any votes about council leadership, I'm going to turn over the gavel to our city clerk, June Lagme. When these votes are held, she is the presiding officer of the council. So after the votes on the presidential items, I'll take the gavel back and we'll vote on the President Pro Tem. So please welcome our city clerk, June Lagme.
Good morning. I'm June Lagnay, and it is my pleasure to be of service to you as your city clerk. And I will be officiating over this section of this morning's proceedings. Before we proceed, I believe we have 4 public comment cards on item 13. Council Clerk, where are the cards? All right, thank you. Okay, first is Francisco Rivera, to be followed by Jay Bieber.
Good morning, honorable members of the City Council. Good morning, Mr. Council President Eric Garcetti. My name is Francisco Rivera, and I am president of the National Central American Roundtable and board member of El Rescate. First of all, congratulations to outgoing Council President Eric Garcetti for an outstanding job. During his presidency, many transcendental things happened in the city of Los Angeles, and there is no doubt that in his quest to be mayor of the city of Los Angeles, we have an excellent choice to lead this great city. On behalf of the Central American community, we want also to congratulate Council Member Herb W. Wesson Jr. and Council Member Ed P. Reyes about to be elected as new Council President and President Pro Tem, respectively. And by the way, that is a historical landmark for the city of Los Angeles, because I believe Mr. Weston will be the first ever African American to be a president of the city council. So congratulations to you, sir. There are so many issues, but the immigration issue is paramount. Mayor Bloomberg of New York set an example yesterday by signing an ordinance that will stop referring detainees by the police department of New York to ICE. That is an example to City of LA to follow. There is a great future ahead for the city of Los Angeles, but the mayor and the city council should not forget the poor communities that have been neglected. Resources of the city of Los Angeles should go to transform and develop economically, these blighted communities and poor communities, from Watts to Highland Park to Boyle Heights. We want the spirit of LA life to be really the whole of the Los Angeles life and not just a privileged area. The elections of 2013 will mark a new direction, and we will also mark a new Los Angeles. Again, congratulations, Mr. Garcetti, Mr. Wesson, and Mr. Reyes. A great day for LA and for the African American community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rivera. Mr. Bieber?
Good morning, Jay Bieber, Sherman Oaks Neighborhood Council. I'm here today to offer my personal congratulations and appreciation to Councilmember Garcetti for his 6 years of distinguished service to the city as Council President. I met the Council President for the first time also a year ago, and I was immediately impressed by his willingness to engage in an honest and thoughtful discussion of the issues at a time when so many people are cynical, have a cynical view of government and our elected officials. Often, sometimes with good reason, it is refreshing to work with someone who not only seems to generally care about the people that he represents, but also does so with intelligence, candor, and courtesy. So, although you will continue to serve on the council to the end of your term, and today, as you prepare to pass the baton to a new council president, I just wanted to say thank you and wish you best for whatever the future holds. Also, I would like to extend my congratulations to Councilmember Wesson and to Councilmember Reyes in their potential new roles as President and President Pro Tem. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. John Walsh, followed by Mr. Arnold Sachs.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org, Walsh Confidential. Congratulations. Congratulations, Mr. Wesson. It's a long time coming. We are disturbed by your statements to the press that your number one priority is to stop people in public comment who are theatrical. So we know who that is. It's this white boy. Okay? So get rid of it. But I want to tell you it should be getting rid of racism.
The speaker should direct his comments to the council as a whole.
I want you to know that in my neighborhood, this is Hollywood, we have clubs. We have white-only clubs where you can't come if you're black. We have Hispanic clubs where you can't come if you're black. We have white and Hispanic clubs where you can't come if you're black. And we have black clubs that welcome everybody. You know what they call people like John Walsh? Race traitor. I've been called that by people like Rick Nightingale, crazy. But we want to see you, the rules are if I speak to him, I get arrested. We want you to know that we want you to make sure that we live in a city where you can smoke medical marijuana. And I'd like to finish by saying, incidentally, for those who notice all these people got up for medical marijuana were white boys, right? Let me tell you, there are clinics for medical marijuana.
The speaker is not speaking about this item.
No, this is about racism. You shut up. This is about racism. This is what he wants to get rid of, the public speaking. I'm telling you right now, if you want to buy medical marijuana in the hood, it costs 3 times as much as in a white neighborhood. The racism in the city is out of control. Fight racism, not John Walsh's theatricality. Thank you, Mr. West. Congratulations.
Arnold Sachs is our last speaker.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning again, Arnold Sachs. Congratulations, Mr. Wesson. I addressed some of the theatrics that occur here in City Hall yesterday. Especially, we talked about the tax incentive you gave when you didn't even know. You spent an hour and a half talking, the council talking about an hour and a half regarding the tax incentive, and you didn't know that the city charter, local meant state and county. So you actually spent an hour and a half talking about doing nothing. That's the theatrics I discussed yesterday. But I do want to talk about actually, and this is not a shot at you, Mr. Reyes, the promotion for Mr. Reyes to be President Pro Tem. Here's a history, and you've heard me talk about the Gold Line Construction Authority and the Blue Line Construction Authority. This is a bill that was created in 1998 for the Blue Line Construction Authority. And I've questioned numerous times how it became the Gold Line Construction Authority, and I was told, well, the bill was modified by the MTA board. Then I was handed a couple of months ago, or maybe a month ago, that the state legislature amended this bill for the Blue Line Construction Authority, allowing use of the Gold Line Construction Authority. So my question would be, in August 2010, in September 2010, November 2010, February 2011, were all meetings for the Gold Line Construction Authority. And Mr. Reyes, you sat on that committee, on that authority. So how could you be sitting on an authority that didn't have legal standing? Just a quick question. And regarding some commentary about the investment in the city council, this was an article, this was your agenda from the 4th. Consideration of a motion for the urgently needed comprehensive violence reduction strategy for the Watts community. And on the same day in the Daily Breeze, Hahn bill, Cervonich bill, 18 years of leadership. And on the 10th,
Mr. Sachs, your time is up. Thank you. That concludes public comment. Item 13 before us today is a motion by Garcetti, Huizar, Englander et al. Relative to the removal and election of the City Council President per his request and to become effective January 2nd, 2012, and election of the President pro tempore. The City Attorney has recommended that item 13 be taken by way of 4 separate votes. The first vote would be to suspend Council Rule 3 in order to allow the vote to take place today and to set the effective date of the Council President's removal and replacement as January 2nd, 2012. The second vote would be to remove Council President Eric Garcetti effective January 2nd, 2012, and call for today's election for the position of a new Council President, also to be effective January 2nd, 2012. The third vote will be whether to elect a new Council President effective January 2nd, 2012. Councilmember Herb Wesson has been nominated to that position. And the last vote would be to elect a new Council President pro tempore, also effective January 2nd, 2012. Councilmember Ed Reyes has been nominated for that position. Now that this has been laid off, we will proceed with the first vote. Mr. Clerk, please open the roll on suspending the rules. Open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Thank you. The matter passes. Vote number 2 would be on removing President Eric Garcetti per his request to be effective January 2nd, 2012, and call for the election today of the position of a new Council President, also to be effective January 2nd, 2012. Mr. Garcetti.
Thank you very much, Madam President. And thank you to everybody who has taken the time to be here today. Thank you, colleagues, members of the media, and everybody who is here for this historic occasion. I rise today to ask your support, colleagues, for my motion to allow me to step down as your Council President and to elect the team of Herb Wesson and Ed Reyes to be the leaders of this Council for its next incarnation. There are 3 votes, as was stated. One, which says remove me, please do. Second, to vote for Herb Wesson, and I'm proud to nominate him, and I'll say a couple words about that in a moment. And third, to elect Ed Reyes to the vacant position right now of President Pro Tem. This vote today means that Los Angeles leadership in this council will continue to look like this city. But it is also a new chapter in that, in which we have had leadership that mirrors the geographic and the ethnic and in some cases the age diversity here. We also are able today to chart a new course with 2 great captains, and the main captain of that ship is my good friend Herb Wesson. Herb Wesson has always been a trailblazer. He has been someone who has always stepped forward and helped the people, not just of his district, but of this state and of this city. And I'm very proud to nominate him as my successor and as the next Council President, to not only write a new chapter in our history here in these chambers, but to also know that I'm passing the baton to somebody who, when I talk to a constituent from their district, says, I'm lucky to have Herb Wesson as my council member. When I talk to folks throughout this state and throughout this city who say, I'm proud to know that Herb Wesson represents me. And we also have in Ed Reyes somebody who has been a trailblazer as well. Somebody who has stood up for the weakest among us, the voices we often do not hear, the communities who are so often not at the table. A dear friend who came into office at the same time that I did, and who will be able to not only continue to ensure that we have steady hands at the wheel, but also who has that institutional knowledge here. Both of these men were forged here in City Council as political professionals, as staff members who understood that our duty is first not what we do around this horseshoe, but what we do in those quiet, private conversations with constituents who say the most simple of phrases, I need your help. To quote Joel Wax, I think both of them are the incarnation of that simple philosophy too, that people deserve what they want, or a darn good explanation as to why they can't have it, but hopefully the first. And their years and decades of service to this community make me proud to be able to say that this council will continue to do the people's business. You all heard it here. You can't go to Congress, you can't go to Sacramento and ask to be heard by your government. But here, in this temple of democracy, in this place that was built with a cornerstone that has sand from every county and water from every mission in California, there is a spirit in this place, and a spirit that is embodied that everybody can come here and be heard by their government and have their petitions redressed. We know today that in Herb Wesson, we'll have someone who every single day knows where he has come from, knows who he is comfortable with that, and has built a coalition that reflects the greatness of this city. So today, I am very proud. I'll save my goodbyes till the proper time because I'm still around for 6 weeks as your council president. Very proud to serve as your council president. But I love this institution, and I love this city, and I love these two men, and I love those things enough to know that there is a time when you step aside and go to the next chapter in your life, and there's also a time where we need to make sure the transition is done with the people's business in mind, and that's what we have here today. So colleagues, to conclude, I'll paraphrase Winston Churchill. This is not the end. This is not the beginning. It is not even the beginning of the end. But today, perhaps, it is the end of the beginning. I ask for your support. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Garcetti. Back to vote number 2, which is technically removing the President, Eric Garcetti, per his request, effective January 2nd, 2012, and call for the election today for the position of a new council president, also to be effective January 2nd, 2012. On this matter, Mr. Clerk, please open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Thank you. The matter passes. On to vote number 3. It has been the tradition of the City Council to conduct the election of a council president by a voice vote conducted in alphabetical order. Unless I hear an objection, we are prepared to proceed in that fashion. Pursuant to the Garcetti motion, Councilmember Herb Wesson has been nominated for the position. As the council clerk calls your name, please state the name of the council member you are voting for to be the president of the City Council, effective January 2nd, 2012. Mr. Council Clerk, please proceed with the vote.
Councilmember Alarcon.
Herb Wesson.
Councilmember Cardenas.
Herb Wesson.
Councilmember Englander.
Herb Wesson.
Councilmember Garcetti. Councilmember Huizar.
My brother, Herb Wesson.
Councilmember Koretz.
For my very dear friend, Herb Wesson.
Councilmember Krikorian.
Herb Wesson.
Councilmember Labange.
Following the name of many great representatives of the 10th District, including the man whose name is on the top of this building, Herb Wesson.
Councilmember Reyes.
Herb Wesson.
Councilmember Rosendahl.
Herb Wesson Jr., my seatmate.
Councilmember Wesson.
I think I'm going to vote for Eric Garcetti. Herb Wesson.
And Councilmember Zine.
How many votes does he need to become the president? That's the advantage of being at the end of the line. The honorable, the eloquent, my seatmate, and oftentimes I call him my Uncle Herb, Herb Wesson.
Mr. Council Clerk.
Madam City Clerk, that vote passes 12-0.
Unanimous vote. Before we proceed, I now yield the chair back to the current Council President, Councilmember Eric Garcetti.
Our business is not yet concluded on this matter. Congratulations, Mr. Wesson, and thank you, colleagues, as well as members of the public. We have now one final vote, which is for President Pro Tem. This will also be an oral vote. My motion has nominated Ed Reyes, but we will do it as an oral vote. So, Mr. Clerk, if you'll please call the roll on the election of the President pro tempore.
Councilmember Alarcón.
Ed Reyes.
Councilmember Cardenas.
Ed Reyes.
Councilmember Englander.
Ed Reyes.
Councilmember Garcetti.
Ed Reyes, Eduardo Reyes.
Councilmember Huizar.
My other brother, Ed Reyes.
It's a big family.
Councilmember Koretz.
Ed Reyes.
Councilmember Krikorian.
Ed Reyes.
Councilmember Labange.
The pride of Cathedral High, Ed Reyes.
Councilmember Reyes. Councilmember Rosendahl.
And my other seatmate, Ed Reyes.
Councilmember Wesson.
Ed Reyes.
And Councilmember Zine.
The man who visits my barber, Ed Reyes.
And by a unanimous vote, Ed Reyes will become the President pro tem on January 2nd. Colleagues, I would like to give both Mr. Wesson and Mr. Reyes the opportunity to address the public that is here with us today and their colleagues. I want to welcome also our City Attorney, Carmen Trutanich, who's joined us as well. Mr. Wesson.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President and members. I've had the opportunity to serve with you for many years. And you, my colleagues, my members, you know that the only time I speak is when I have something to say. So today I've got something to say, and I'll tell you right now, it's going to be longer than 3 minutes. First, I want to give recognition to my family, my wife of over 30 years, my brother, my aunts, my sons, my grandchildren. Thank you guys for coming down. We've got former Councilman Cunningham. If it wasn't for Nate Holden, I wouldn't be standing before you today. Assemblymember Mike Davis, and the first African-American Lieutenant Governor of the great state of California, Merv Dimely. We give them a round of applause. And I have people that are here from the neighborhood councils, from community organizations, people that I've known for years, individuals that have always been supportive of me. And I just want you to know that I'm so proud that you adjusted your schedule to spend quality time with me on this day. And I want you to know, you've been here for a while, that Mr. Reyes and Mr. Labange and I have prepared for you some light refreshments after the program, and the emphasis on light. We've got tamales, we have fried chicken, I got a 40-pound roasted hog. That's the way we go. We have rice and beans, so I'll feed you today. So for 2 days, you'll eat well. To my colleagues, thank you for this historic honor that you have accorded me on this day. This day is practically perfect. And if I could look at that front row and see my mother, it would be a perfect day. You know, everybody's coming up and they, oh, Mr. Wesson, you're going to be the president. What are you going to do? What is your presidency going to stand for? And I thought about it. 10 years ago, almost to the day, 79 members of the California State Assembly elected me the 65th Speaker of the state. And what I told them is something very appropriate that I think I should tell you. This presidency is not about me. It's about we. It's about us. It's about the 4 million people in this city that we represent. It's not about me. It's not about Herb Wesson. Let me tell you what this presidency is about. It's about 2 folks many years ago from Mexico who decided to come to this state to provide a better life for their family. And big family it was. 11 children in this family. The father was a farm worker who picked whatever needed to be picked. Back-breaking work for little pay. He then elevated himself and became a gardener. Again, back-breaking work where you had to use a rake. There was no such things as a horn, you know, the little air blower that blows the leaves. There was no such thing. His family never went without food. Every member of that family that wanted to graduate from college, graduated from college. They have PhDs, they have masters, they have doctor's degrees, they have an engineering degree in the family. And in several months from now, this ordinary man and woman that did an extraordinary job of raising their family will look down and watch the son of an immigrant become a member of the United States Congress. This presidency is not about me. It's about we. It's about us. It's about a man who was different and grew up at a time when people didn't understand and didn't accept what he was. They made fun of these people. They called them some of the worst names imaginable. But he kept his secret, and he listened to them. He could have been bitter and angry at this country, but no, he served the military during the Vietnam War. And after that went on to work for candidates running for president, and eventually was hired by President Jimmy Carter. And at the age of 32 years old, he stood up and said, "It's okay to be gay." This presidency is not about me. It's about we. It's about us working together as a team, trying to do the right thing. We will fail and we will win. This presidency is not about me. It's about a young man. As soon as this young man got here, we were impressed with his intelligence. We respect him to no end. This council is a better place because he is present with us today, but he is only here today based on the cleverness and the cunning of his ancestors, who were able to avoid one of the worst genocides that this world has ever seen. This presidency is not about me. It's about we. It's about us. It's about a young man who was dealt a pretty bad hand, raised by a single mom and his older sister. Sister passed away at a young age. This young man could be in jail instead of doing what he does now, which is putting criminals in jail. This presidency is not about me. It's about we. It's about us. It's a young man who was born with a desire to serve, and everybody told him, it's not going to happen. You can't be elected. He was elected to the West Hollywood City Council, elected to the California State Assembly, and a member of the Los Angeles City Council right now. I tell you, this presidency is not about Herb Wesson. You see, members, we might have taken different paths to get to this place, as Dennis Zine's cell phone just goes off.
It's my son. It's my son congratulating.
It's his son congratulating me, is what he said. We may have all had different lives and took different paths to get here, but there's one thing that we all have in common, and that's a strong desire to serve. Merv Dimely taught me that. And it's that thread that binds us together. And no matter if we argue, fuss, and fight, remember our main agenda is to serve. It's not about me. It's about the biggest ambassador the city council has ever had, knows the name of every high school probably in the world. And we could go downstairs to his car right now, open the trunk, and I guarantee you there will be a shovel. There will be trash bags, and there will be gloves, because he drives around the street picking up trash, and you're welcome in my district anytime you want to come. It's not about me, members. It's about we. It's about us. It's about a Lebanese cowboy who didn't ride a horse. He rode a police motorcycle, decided to get active in the union, was elected to the city council, and I believe one day soon will be the next controller of the great city of Los Angeles. It's not about me.
I love you, Herbie. I love you, Herbie.
I guess you know who that was. It's about a young man whose parents came here from Mexico as well, looking for a better life. They set the bar high. They didn't want their son to just get a college education. They wanted him to get an Ivy League education. And he did that. He did that for them, came back to this great city, elected to the Los Angeles Unified School District, became its president, and now he serves with us, and he is my bro. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, this speakership, this presidency, this speakership, that's not about me. It's about we, it's about us. It's about a man who, like me, started out in the background. We were behind the scenes trench workers with no desire, really, to become an elected official. All we ever wanted to be was a public servant. But something happened, and his boss had to take care of some personal issues to get his life together. And I'm proud to say that he did get his life together. And that man we see here all week, he's an asset to us. But the behind-the-scenes man had to step forward, and he won maybe when he wasn't supposed to win. And from the moment he was here, he's highly respected, and I'm going to be proud to call him my partner as we move forward with the Los Angeles City Council. It is not about me. It is about we. Lastly, there's a boy who was smart as a whip, musical genius, speaks 2 languages, Rhodes Scholar, joined the military reserve, became an officer, joined the military at a time of war. As we speak, he could get orders to go somewhere overseas. This presidency is not about me. It's about we. It's about us. Now, we're going to have a lot of critics. We heard some of them today. We'll hear them on the blogs. But I learned from a very wise man a long time ago. In all of my life, I have never seen a statue erected for a critic, but many who they criticize, statues have gone. And for the people that say, oh, with Herb as president, we're not going to be able to accomplish anything. He won't lead. Oh, no, no. Be assured, I will lead. The question is, will you lead with me? And that answer is yes, because I know that you can. We've got a lot of challenges. We've got to take our city out of the financial darkness and bring it back into the light. So the whole world, all of LA, all of the county, they're looking at us. What we're going to do. Can the city council reinvent itself and provide the kind of leadership that this city needs? I'm going to steal a phrase from the president. Yes, we can. Yes, we can get this done. And the promises that I will make to you are simple. I will work my guts out for you. Members, your wants and your needs come before mine. Trust me, I'm smart enough to realize if you succeed, I succeed. You won't see me running around being the face of this council and on the media. In fact, I'll be honest with you. The first thing I do in the morning when I wake up is read the paper to make sure I'm not in it. I want you to succeed. If you succeed, I succeed. And more importantly, the 4 million people that depend on us to provide services for them, they will succeed. It's not about me. It's about we. I am so honored. And if only my mom was here, this would be the perfect day. I say this all the time. Bill just said she is here, and in spirit she is. But if she was, I'd go up to her and give her a big kiss. So now I'm going to have to kiss Zion on the head. God bless us. God bless America. I'm excited. I will lead. I will lead. We will get the job done. Remember, yes, we can.
Very nice. Very nice.
White House hat. What a trip. I don't want you to kiss it.
Thank you, Mr. Wesson, and thank you to the family and the friends and everybody who's here. Mr. Reyes, I turn the microphone to you.
Thank you, Council President. Now we have a peek of what's to come, and it is hard to follow Herb Wesson. I want to thank my colleagues for your confidence. I want to thank Council President Garcetti for nominating me, allowing us to have this moment in time. When we listen to Herb Wesson, we listen about an environment that speaks to a whole, a one city. What he described was many of our tribulations and our challenges. We're all very unique, but we all share something in common. We want what's best for Los Angeles. Today I have here constituents from my district. I want to thank them for coming here. They took time out of work, out of their family time to be here. For all the folks that are here today supporting Herb and the city, quite frankly, such a historic moment to have the first African American to be president of this council truly speaks to the heart of this city, because we are so diverse. And it is what makes the second largest city in this country so important. We have learned a lot from President Garcetti. He's taken us through the darkest moments of our budget crisis. We have seen how Dennis Zion and Jan Perry have been working together as a team. We set aside our differences and spoke to how we keep our goals as a city intact. And we succeeded. We were at the brink, and we came from the edge to a point now where we need to define ourselves and how we recover. I want to thank my office, my staff, my Chief of Staff, Jose Guerrero. They're all here today because this is not about an individual. This is about a group of people who want to serve the neighborhoods they grew up in. And much like ourselves, a lot is expected of us. But we work together, we continue to toil. I want to thank my family for being here, my wife for her sacrifices, my parents. They are at home, working. But my daughter, my son is here. I want to thank them for being here. And my brother Richard as well, my oldest brother. As a son of an immigrant, I have seen my parents wring their hands, worry about whether we pay the rent or buy food or have enough money to pay for the tuition. I've had the opportunity to sit through 7 national anthems in my district. And in the eyes of all these individuals, I see the eyes of my parents, how they struggle to be in this great country, and how they've been giving of themselves for a sense of a future, a betterment of their lives. I hold this position, and I feel very privileged because it is a cherished position. It's a position that says that we can promote change. For all of us who complain about what is or what isn't, we need to ask ourselves, what have we done to make a change for the positive? So yes, we will be criticized. And yes, we'll have people here who find it easy to insult communities, to use harsh terms, attack individuals, attack communities. But we need to pick ourselves up and say, we understand your frustration, we understand your anger, but today, what did we do to make a difference? So as President Pro Tem, I will reflect on the greatness of John Ferraro, the greatness of all the council members that sat in that chair, who have given their lives for this great city, for this great country, and allow for that luster to continue, and to move boldly in a manner that says, we will not shy away from the chaos that we see today. We need to move forward with a sense of purpose because our children deserve it, our families work for it, and our communities need it. And for that, I thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Wesson.
Mr. President, I just have to thank you for your years of service. And people sometimes don't understand that when their leadership struggles, it gets very uncomfortable. This has been maybe one of the smoothest transitions, and I think you're at least 52% responsible for that. I'm 48. I want to thank Mr. Zine, my dear friend, for his service, and to indicate that what Mr. Zine has volunteered to do is to step down as the Assistant President Pro Tem so that I can appoint my oldest friend on this council as effective January 2nd, the Assistant Pro Tem, President Pro Tem of this council will be that great ambassador that I referred to earlier, Tom LaBonge.
And Mr. LaBonge, would you like to make some remarks?
Mr. Wesson, to my colleagues, it is very special because this has been great moments for us as we have the most important team in Los Angeles. It's not the professional football team that we want. It's the team of council members and their staffs who are focused, is what Mr. Wesson said. Eric, I want to thank you as our president, and you're right, Herb, about transition, because there's been battles in here that have been tough. This is good for the city of Los Angeles. And Mr. Wesson, it's so pleased to see Mr. Cunningham and Mr. Holden are here as former members of the 10th District, and think of Mr. Bradley, whose name is on the tower of this building and greets people, which is all about Los Angeles. And this building, which was built by the people in the 1920s when Los Angeles was just a cow town, and they were trying to still get the water from the north. And they said, we're going to have the tallest building west of Chicago. And this building still stands, and this hall still stands. And then we invited the world to the 32 Olympic Games, which said something about Los Angeles. And then in the efforts of the war, we tooled the country with the work that was necessary, and film and television and housing and all the things that happened. And again in 1984, by a 8-7 vote, we got the Olympics again in this council, and then on and on and on. And we have it, Herb, and you're very special because you talk about us. And the us is not just us who sit in the chair, it's the us that lines here where I once stood, working for the great John Ferraro. And so it's a lot of experience, as Mr. Reyes says, who worked in our planning department and worked for a council member, Mr. Hernandez, before, and all of you had history and variety, that we just got to work harder, because there's only one city that's greater than the city of Los Angeles. It's the city that we want. And the city that we want is the city that we want for all. And all I tell is the people about me and my opportunities. When Mayor Bradley put me on his youth council, he opened the doors of City Hall. He opened the doors of City Hall, and that was so important because it was everybody. And I know there's people who are occupying the lawns of City Hall, but they got to occupy the opportunity to change in governance if that's their belief, or whatever your belief is. It starts right here in City Hall. So Herb, I thank you, and I appreciate your great words and your tremendous knowledge, and the fact that you come from Sacramento as a former speaker and understand how that works will only help us here. And the fact that you came as a deputy for the 10th District and worked your way up, and that you have a great staff will only help us all. I want to thank my wife, Bridget, who's right behind me out here. I also want to thank all the staff that works in the council, because I know it. We all got to work harder. And then I also want to thank all the staff that's out in the city streets right now doing what Mr. Wesson says we all got to do, keep it cleaner and take care of the neighborhoods. God bless Herb Wesson.
Thank you.
God bless Eric Garcetti. And God bless our sound man.
Thank you very much, Mr. LaBonge. He's always generous, isn't he? Mr. Wesson?
If we could have like a 4 or 5 minute recess so that I can have all of Ed's guests and my guests come to the back before.
We will take a 5-minute recess, colleagues, and then we will be back in session.
And I really want to thank my staff. Has been phenomenal. Give my staff a round of applause. Yeah. Up here. Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
That light's on and they can hear it all.
about 2 turkeys, and so what are you going to do with 198? Go drop off a turkey, and they would give us bottles of champagne. We have 14 episodes.
Colleagues, we're going to start in 2 minutes. There's a 2-minute call to begin the council meeting. Don't forget to listen to KPCC 89.3 FM. Colleagues, we are back in session. We have items before us. We have items 2 and 4, which are ordinances I'd like to take up the public comment on together. So first, Arnold Sachs on item number 2. Is Mr. Sachs here? Mr. Walsh, would you like to come forward on item number 2? And then we have Sean Murphy on item number 4 following that. So after Mr. Walsh.
John Walsh, blogging at Hollywood Highlands, LANDS.org, or Google Mickey's, M-I-K-I, pointed view, or Google Walsh Confidential. And incidentally, this public comment is not about me, it's about we. I'd like to finish by saying I'm 100% in favor of number 2. And I'm a little tired for listening to 2 hours of nauseating self-congratulation. And I'd also like to know who's paying for Herb Wesson's banquet out there, which is not in the rotunda
Mr.
for
President,
the hoi
he's not
polloi,
talking about
but
item
in
number
the
2.
Okay, we're in the lighting
back
district
room.
before us.
Arrest
Thank you,
me,
Mr. Walsh.
City Attorney.
All right. And that will be last warning given the earlier and personal comments you made as well, Mr. Walsh. Let's go ahead and on item 2, please open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Thank you. And item number 4, Sean Murphy, you'd like to come forward on item number 4?
Yeah, I'd like to send congratulations to Herb Wesson and Ed Reyes. Good luck. Congratulations, gentlemen. And item 4, I am for. Thank you. I want to tell my fans happy Thanksgiving again.
Thank you very much. You too, sir. With that, let's go ahead and open the roll on item. All right. Sounds good. Item number 4, I'll open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
All right. That is approved as well. We go to the next item called special.
Mr. President, that brings us to item number 8 called Special 4 Cards.
All right. If we can take up, sorry, which item? 8. John Walsh, if you'd like to come forward on item number 8, sir.
John Walsh, Facebooking with Mickey Jackson at M-I-K-I Jackson to find out what's really happening. I'm so afraid. I'm in favor of this. I'm on my last warning. I'm really afraid. HollywoodHighlands.org. Bye.
Okay, that will close public comment on item number 8. Let's go ahead and prepare the roll and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
That is approved. We'll send everything forthwith today without objection. Next item, please.
Mr. President, that brings us to item number 9 called Special 4 Cards.
All right, item number 9 we have before us. Mr. Walsh, would you like to speak on number 9? Okay. He waves. Mr. Sachs is not here, so we'll close public comment on that. Please open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
All right, that is approved. Next item, please.
Mr. President, that brings us to item number 12 called Special 4 Cards.
Okay, let's take up 14 real quick. Mr. Walsh has left and Mr. Sachs, and those were just the cards on 14, so we'll open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote on that.
12 ayes.
All right, that's approved. Number 12 we'll take up next. Frank Sheftel and Van Nuys, item number 12. Mr. Sheftel, is he here? Okay, if not, looks like he's left the Van Nuys council chambers. Let's go ahead and prepare the roll on number 12, and please tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, that is approved. If we can reconsider item number 1, please. Please open the roll on 1, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
All right. That is right before us again. Mr. Sachs had a card in, but he has left. We'll enter that into the record. Mr. Rosendahl, item number 1.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Could I have the head of the department come up for a quick comment on this? Colleagues, this is about seniors and the services they get. As you know, this particular item talks about a particular senior center that have not paid their taxes or paid their fees or done whatever they're supposed to do. That's a different issue. But I've had a lot of people ask me, what impact will this have on the seniors who are using that facility?
Thank you, Councilmember Laura Trejo, General Manager of the Department of Aging. As you know, that is an adult day health care center. They are licensed by the state of California to deliver health services to older adults who are considered very frail and eligible for nursing home. The state continues to reimburse that center for its services. They are a business, and so as such, we do really not engage in questioning their business practices. We really are looking and concerned about the clients they're serving. As you are aware, the adult day health care will be eliminated effective March 1st now. The settlement between the court and the state has now resulted in an additional 90 days for local communities to be able to plan appropriately the transition of these clients. The department is engaged not only with county departments, but we're also engaged with the Medi-Cal healthcare providers in Los Angeles, as well as our community provider network. We are really trying to develop strategic alliances and partnerships so that we can ensure the safe transition of these clients to other services. We are also engaged in identifying grants, as you requested. And so right now we're actually have the possibility of a grant that may be useful for us in this to transition these clients. And so we are currently discussing that with the county department. So we have been, working at all speed ahead, trying to make sure that we effectuate a professional transition of these clients to make sure they're well. In Los Angeles, as you know, that's going to be over 10,000 people that potentially will be put at risk in terms of having to change their service provider. We believe that the settlement will now result in 5,000 of those clients approximately receiving a higher level of service. And so we're very pleased to that, but we still have to worry about the remaining clients who will not be eligible. And we are coming up with our providers with solutions to try to make sure that clients are not left without anything. We want to make sure they get appropriate care and appropriate responses to their needs.
That's obviously the key of what we're saying here. We care about our seniors. We care about those in those facilities. We care about adult daycare. And whatever we can do to keep those folks taken care of is key. And you feel comfortable that in this particular spot, they will be transitioning to others?
I'm confident that across the city, we are working with not only the professional associations, the providers themselves. We've met with everybody that is engaged in this process, and we are basically putting all alert to everybody in our network that we will be prepared to address the clients as they present to our services. Actually, they've already started to reach out to our providers, and we already are responding to them.
What I'd like you to do when we get into 2012, to give us a report in the council so we don't get up to the deadline like we did the other day. We were all so worried about it. I'm really proud of your leadership on this issue, and give us an update because we got to take care of our seniors. That is a Thanksgiving obligation that I say to everybody. We need to be thankful for the seniors, and we need to support them.
Thank you.
Bless you. Thank you.
Good job, Laura.
All right, let's go ahead and take a vote again. Please open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay, that is approved. Yes, so we'll continue items 17 and 18 until November 29th without objection. And we're going to continue 17 and 18 if that's all right?
Item number 9 was another one that I wanted to have us reconsider if we can do it. Pardon me? Okay, all right. Okay, cool. All right.
All right, with that, next order of business. Next order of business, please.
Mr. President, that takes council back to items called special, I think we're done with
those.
no remaining items. That takes us to motions for posting and referral.
All right, those are posted and referred.
And there is an excuse on the desk. Councilmember Labange requests to arrive at 11 o'clock on November 30th due to city business. That meets council policy.
Okay, he is excused.
Mr. President, the desk is clear.
Okay, yes, Mr. Rosendahl.
Point of order. Item number 9, which has to do with winter shelters, I want us to be able to discuss it next Tuesday. So somehow I can continue to that, because I do want to have a discussion about the winter shelter program, where it's going, where it's not going, and what we need to worry about. And item number 9 was giving us an update, and I'm very concerned about it.
I believe that we have to take action to actually get them open and paid today. Mr. City Attorney, can we retain the council file while moving all the action items, or is that impossible?
Council needs to take action on these items, and perhaps council could direct the city clerk to place an item on the Tuesday or Wednesday agenda, which requests a briefing by the departments on these.
Okay, we'll move the action forward, and I'll retain on item 9 also direction, if we can, without objection, amend that for possible further discussion. We'll see when we can agendize that. Okay.
Great, thank you. I appreciate that very much.
All right. Any announcements, colleagues? Do we have adjourning motions today? Okay, if I could. Yeah, Mr. Lavange, real quick.
This Sunday, is this 17 and 18 are holding?
Yep. No, we're done. Announcements.
Thanks to your leadership, Mr. Garcetti, we're having the Hollywood Christmas Parade this Sunday night. Invite everybody to Hollywood. You can take the red line there and come along Hollywood Boulevard, either at Highland area or down at Vine Street. Come to the Hollywood Christmas Parade, sponsored by the City of Los Angeles and our co-producers.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. Garcetti.
We are looking forward to seeing folks out there. We'll be out there on the boulevard. Thank you, Mr. Lavange, for your help with it. And the Hollywood Christmas Parade this Sunday. If I can ask everybody, please rise in council chambers. And the date certain for that item 9 we'll have is Tuesday's meeting. If I can ask everybody in council chambers to please rise for our adjourning motions today. Thank you. Mr. Englander and Mr. Cardenas, if I can ask you to please rise. Mitch, Tony. Ed. Mr. Koretz.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask you that you join me today in adjourning in the memory of Rabbi Berish Dov Landau, who was hit by a vehicle on his way to synagogue yesterday morning while crossing La Brea Avenue. He was 88. Compounding that horrendous tragedy was that another gentleman, Rabbi Samuel Jacobs, age 59 of Valley Village, who was accompanying Rabbi Landau across the street, was also struck and currently remains in critical condition. Rabbi Landau was a man who lived in pre-war Europe and provided an important link to another generation of Jews. Landau was known as a very sweet and gentle man, yet wise and discerning, who was always positive and smiling. Landau moved to Los Angeles from New York 10 years ago to be closer to his son Yonah, who is a prominent community outreach activist. Rabbi Yonah Landau runs a food distribution organization called Tomchai Shabbos, aimed at ensuring Jewish families have food each week for the Sabbath. This unfortunate incident has obviously shaken the Orthodox Jewish community, and I'd like to express my deepest condolences to the families, while keeping hopes for Samuel Jacobs' quick recovery in our prayers. The burial for Rabbi Landau will take place today in New York.
Thank you. Second that for Mr. Rosendahl. Thank you. Any other adjourning motions, Mr. Labange?
Yeah, just again, on behalf of Jan Perry, Maurice Chase, who we know as Father Dollar Bill, 92 years old, wonderful man, graduated from UCLA, just was passionate about there. In today's article, Los Angeles Times, he said when he met Sister Teresa, Mother Teresa, she said, do something for the poor. And for over almost 40 years, he would come this time of year to Fifth Street and pass out donations. God bless Maurice Chase, Catholic priest.
Thank you very much. Any other adjourning motions, colleagues? If not, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll. And we'll be not in session this Friday due to the holiday, but back in session on the 29th. That'll be a week from yesterday on Tuesday, the 29th of November at 10 a.m. Have a great Thanksgiving. Be well, stay safe, and we'll see you next week. Courage.